Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Now today I'm going to show you this. Look at this. I've made a little cover, a little cuddle blanket. These are little blankets. They're made about 20 inches by 20 inches. They're nice little squares and they're used for children just to cuddle into instead of them carrying a great big favourite blanket around with them. The clusters go and it looks like they're going in all different directions, and it's really pretty. It's quite light as well for a blanket. I'm going to show you how to do this topsy-turvy granny stitch. What colour you're doing this doesn't matter what kind of yarn you're doing, so you just use the hook that goes with the yarn label, and I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. I'm using some pale blue, red. Oh, I've got my hook stuck in there. Oh my goodness, what a day. I'm using some red heart pale blue, and I'm going to show you what I started this with. If I can find the bottom, which way is the bottom? It's topsy-turvy. It's any way up this blanket. It'll go any way up, and I can't find the bottom of it. Which side is it? Oh, there we are. That's so funny. Topsy-turvy, isn't it? I started it with a loop, and I've got a loop in here that I missed, another loop and a loop in. I put some shells all round the whole blanket. I'll show you how to do that at the end. So I'm going to show you how to do this stitch, and this yarn is in a pale green, and it's a red heart soft baby steps. But if you like this is what it is. It's baby soft steps. It's got no colour, it's just a light green. The lot number, I think it's the colour number you'll go by, 00005, and that's the colour for this, and I love this, it's beautiful. Now I'll get this in. I did that same green. I made this little pram. It's for a doll pram, this. It's not for a baby pram. It's for a doll pram. And look how pretty it is with, oh, turn it round the right way, Alison. There we go. Look how pretty it is with white. That's a pure white. And it's a really pretty green, that. It's really nice, and it's so soft. Now the tutorial for this is already on my channel. That one, it's interwoven fans, and it's really pretty, and that's an easy one to do as well. It's beautiful. I'll pop that over there. So I'm going to show you how, enough talking, I'm going to show you how to do this topsy-turvy or drunken granny stitch. I don't like the word drunken granny. I'm going to call it a topsy-turvy. It's a topsy-turvy granny stitch, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So I've got my yarn, and we're going to start with making some loops. So we'll do a slip knot. You just do your first stitch the way that you would normally do it. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to make a big loop and a small loop, a big loop and a small loop. You start on a big loop, finish on a big loop. So I'm going to tell you, if you do one, I'll show you how to do the loops. Do a big loop and a small loop, a big loop and a small loop, but finish on a big loop and start on a big loop. That is so that when you do your stitch, that you're starting with a cluster and you're finishing on a cluster. So you'll have a cluster at each end. You'll work that out in a minute. What you're going to do is, for the larger loop, you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Wrap your yarn around your hook twice, and we're going to go into that last stitch in your chain and pull it through. So you've got 4 loops. We'll zoom in one more. So you've got 4 loops on your hook. Put your yarn over and come through 2 loops. Yarn over, come through 2 loops. Yarn over and come through 2 loops. Now you should try these little loops on a lot of your blankets when you start making them. It saves you making a chain and then try to squeeze into the chain. I like it, and it makes your edge really nice as well. So now we're going to do a small loop, and that's chain 3. 1, 2 and 3, and you're just going to wrap your yarn once and you're going to go into the 2 stitches that look like a V, and it's at the bottom of that chain. Just push it through those 2 stitches, yarn over and pull through. You've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So we've got a small loop, we've got a small loop and a big loop. So now a big loop again, so that's chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, yarn over twice, so it looks like you've got 3 loops on your hook, and we're going to go into these 2 stitches here, through there, pull your yarn through, you've got 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 and yarn over and pull through 2. So when we go into the stitches, we're going into these 2 here that close your little loop off. So we've done a big one, a little one, a big one. So we're on a small one now. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and just wrap your yarn over your hook the one time and go through those 2 stitches. So we'll make a small loop. These are the loops that you miss out when you're going along. Instead of missing 4 chain, if you were to do this in a chain, it would be miss 4 stitches. So we're just going to miss the loop, but it doesn't detract from the blanket at all. I'll pull that down. It makes it really, really nice along the edge. You don't even notice that there's a little loop there, but it's better than a chain. It's better than having a long chain like that there, and it looks kind of bare in there. So the way we've done the loops, we've still got that one sitting in there, and it doesn't look so bare. If you just had a chain in there like that, it would look kind of bare and big holes. You don't want that. So we're doing a big loop now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 4 for the big loops, yarn over twice and into those 2 stitches there, pull through again, yarn over, through again, and there we are. We're going to do that for the length of blanket that you want. Make it as big as you want. Now I'm only making a sample. My little blanket here, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I did 19 loops. Make sure if you're on, you start with a big loop, make sure you finish on a big loop here. So I've got 19, odd number, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's an odd number. As long as you start on a big loop and finish on a big loop, your blanket will be fine. So I've got a big loop there, a little one, a bigger one, a little one, and a bigger one. So I'll do a few more and I'll come back and show you what to do next. I've got my little sample chain made. I've started on a large loop and I've finished on a large loop. And I've got my little loops in between. What you're going to do now is you're going to slip stitch into that big loop. So just put your hook through, pull your yarn through and slip it through that stitch. So that way you're working inside this loop here. What we're going to do now is we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That becomes your first treble crochet. If you're in the USA, we're going to be using double crochets. If you're in the UK, it's a treble crochet. So into this loop, we're going to put 3 more treble crochets. That counts as your first one. So we're going to put 3 more treble crochets into this loop. Or if you're in the USA or another country, that's 3 double crochets into that space. So that's 1, yarn over through the loop and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2. So my chain counts as 1. I've got that 1, 2, 3. I need another one. That's 4. Now you're going to chain 2. If you want If you want your blanket to look as if it's got less holes, then just chain one. It's up to you. You can either chain one or you can chain two. It's up to you. So I'm going to chain two, and back into that space I'm going to do one more treble crochet, just like that. So you've got 4 treble crochets, 2 chain, or you can do 1 chain, it's up to you, and 1 more treble crochet. If you're in the USA, that's your chain 3, 3 double crochet, 2 chain, and 1 more double crochet. We're going to skip this little loop. Skip it. If you were doing a chain, that would be 4 chains you'd be skipping. But it's easier with the loops. Skip the little loop and go into this next one. It's a bigger one. Yarn over. You're going to put 4 treble crochets into this loop. Chain 2 and 1 more treble crochet. If you're in the USA, 4 double crochet, 2 chain, and 1 more double crochet. So that's 4 treble crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2. Now you don't need to chain 2, you can just chain 1. It's up to you if you don't want such big spaces. And 1 more into that space. So each of your large loops will have 5 treble crochets. One of them will have that chain space in there. Skip the little loop, just skip that and go to the next big loop. 4 treble crochets, 2 chain and 1 treble crochet all into that loop. You'll skip the next one, work that one, skip that one and work the last one. So when you get to the end, I'll come back and show you what to do next. So you pause the video, work along your line of loops, and I'll see you when you get to the end. So this is what I've got. I've got all these little bridges. I'm on the last one. Now I've got my 4, got the sun shining in the window. I've got my 4 treble, my 3, no I've not got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, my 4 treble crochets. I've done my 2 chain. Now this last one I'm going to put into the very end of the loop. Put it into the end of the loop there, like that. And it's going to keep your edge straight. I know we didn't do it on there, but we do have that chain that's right there beside it. Because we slip stitch in, it kept that chain, that first one, right at the edge, so we don't need to worry about it dipping in the way. What we're going to do now is going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. That becomes your first treble crochet. You're going to put another 3 treble crochets. That counts as your first treble crochet. We're going to put 3 into here. If you're in the USA, that's a double crochet. So your chain counts as your first one. We're going to put 3 more into that first space. So we've got our 3, chain 2 and put 1 more in. Now don't worry about it going out a little bit, it'll get pulled in when we move over here. You're going straight over to this next space, into the chain space. So that was your chain space that you did. We're going to put 4 treble crochets, 2 chain, and then do 1 more into that space. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. You're going to chain 2 and put 1 more into that same chain space, like that. Now what it does is it tips see, tipsy-turvy, it tips your granny stitch to that side. And when we go to work on this one, the next one will tip that way. So yarn over and straight into that chain space, into that space. That's 2, 3, and 4. Some more yarn. Chain 2 and one more into that same space like this. And this is what you've got. You've got these ones going that way and these ones go that way. Straight over to the next chain space. Don't go into that. Don't go into that one. We're going into this one that's in the cluster. In there. And this crochets up really quickly as well. That's 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and another one into that space. Move over to the last space here. We're going to do our 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2, 1, 2, and one more into the space. Now that we're at the end here, you've got your 1, 2, 3. We're going to put a treble crochet into the top of that chain space. Just go into the top of the chain, squeeze your hook through, there we are, and do a treble crochet on that end. So this is what we've got so far, a little blanket. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and just repeat that row again. And this time we're going into this little space here, 4 treble crochets, 2 chain and 1 more treble crochets, all into that space. I told you this is so easy, so easy. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2, 1, 2, and 1 more into that space. We're going right over that one and into this space here. Make sure you don't go into that. Don't go into that. We're going in here. And we're doing our 4 trebles, 2 chain, and 1 more treble. 3, 2 chain, 1 and 2, and into there for the third one. And what it does this time is it's making these ones go that way, now these ones go that way, and when it's turned around it goes all kind of topsy-turvy. So I'll do a few more rows on this one. So I'll work my way to the end and I'll show you how to do that end again. So that's 2 and 3, and 1 more is 4, chain 2, 1 and 2, and 1 more treble crochet. Now if you do this with a chunky yarn, a nice thick chunky yarn, something like this, if you use something like this, I'll show you this beautiful lemon that I've got as well. If you do it in something that's really chunky, it'll grow so fast, so quickly, and it's going to look absolutely amazing if you do it in a thick chunky yarn. You can do it in any yarn at all. Now if you choose just to do one chain here, the space that's here will be smaller. And what you can also do is, if you use thicker yarn, use a bigger hook and it'll be more lacy and light as well. There's lots of little variations that you can do with this. So we're going straight over to this next one. So if you're in the USA or some of the other countries, this is a double crochet. You're putting 4 double crochets into the space, 2 chain and 1 more double crochet if you are in the USA or another country. I do know that Australia and the UK have the same crochet terms, but a lot of the other countries don't. A lot of the other countries have the same terms as America does. So into the next one. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Chain my 2, 1, 2 and put 1 more into that space. I'm going to go right over to the end and put a treble crochet into the top of that chain there, that chain that's there. Put a treble crochet in, or a double crochet if you're in the USA. And this is what you get. You get this topsy-turvy blanket. And your edge is nice and straight as well. It's nice and straight. It's not tipping in like that. So make sure you do your loops nice and slack, or it'll go away in like that. You don't want that. It's nice and straight. Your edges are nice and straight with your treble crochet here or your 3 chain that's there. If you follow that, it's a 1 row repeat. You will get this. I'll put that out of the way. You will get this. I'm going to zoom back down. This is what you get. I'll show you this. Where's my end? Where's my... See, it's so topsy-turvy you can't really tell where the bottom and the top is. So that was my bottom. And that is what you get once you've done quite a few rows. It's really pretty. Look at that. Now, I'm going to show you how to do the edge. So once you've got your blanket done the size that you want, I'm going to show you how I did the edge. Now we just have to pretend this is a big blanket. Pretend it's a big blanket. I'm going to show you how I put the scalloped edge all around the blanket. It's quite easy. It's really easy. It's 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 all the way around. Now you start with a chain of 3, 1, 2 and 3. A lot of the tutorials showing you this sort of drunk, when they call it a drunken granny square, they don't show you how to finish round the edge. So you're going to go, that counts as your first treble crochet, and into this space I'm going to put 4 more. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that chain that we did makes 5. That makes up 5. We're going straight over here. Now when you do the edge of a blanket, it's trial and error. If that's too many for your blanket, try it with 4. You can try it with a chain in the middle. You can try 2 chains. It's up to you. I don't know how wide your blanket is or how big your blanket is. So I'm going to chain 1 and go into this space here, into that big space, and put 5 more treble crochets. If you're in the USA, it's a double crochet. That's 3, 4 and 5. Some more yarn, and that's 5. Even though I'm at the corner, I'm just going to pull that tail. I'll stitch that in. Got chain 1, and I'm going to go in to the bottom end of this loop that we did, and I'm going to put 5 treble crochets. Chain 1, I'm going to skip that one and put 5 into there. Chain 1, skip that and put 5 into there. Now this This is the bottom of the blanket. That's all the little loops that we made to do the bottom. And this is how I'm going to do the blanket. So I've done my chain 1 and I'm going to put 5 treble crochets into this loop. That's 2, there's 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to chain 1, skip that little loop there, that's the little loops, and in we go. I'm going to show you something. The reason I've done the little loops, even though we've not worked them, we've not done anything to them, it's better than just having that chain bare right in the middle. If we didn't do a loop and we done a chain, you would have that chain there and it looks quite bare and it looks quite sort of holy and not quite so nice. So it's nice having that there. It sort of bulks that big space up. So in here we're going to put our 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I'm on my last loop and I'm going to put my 5 in. I'm going to do my chain 1 and I'm going to go in, do my chain 1 and I'm going to come across to here. I'm going to come into this space here and we'll see what it's like. It is quite a large gap. 3, 4 and 5. And then you would just carry on up the side just the same way we did here into these spaces that's above. There would be one there if we had more, but that is how you crochet around. That's how I crocheted around mine, and look at that, it's really pretty. And if you put that all the way around your blanket, now I'm going to set that aside. So when I got to the top, I didn't do the top because the top already had the fan. I know it's got the chain space there, but it didn't matter. I just left it that way. And that is how you do the topsy-turvy granny stitch. A lovely little topsy-turvy granny stitch. Some people call it the drunken granny stitch, but I like topsy-turvy better. It's a little topsy-turvy blanket. And that's a nice little name for children as well. Oh, where's your topsy-turvy blanket? Do you know, their little blankie, they're looking for their blankie, their little comfort blanket that they'll squidge in at night time. And it's so much nicer calling it a topsy-turvy blanket than a drunken granny blanket, than a drunken granny stitch. But topsy-turvy it is for me. And that is how you do it. So have fun doing this, it really is, and it crochets up quite quickly. It crochets up quickly, and it's a 1 row repeat, and it's really super easy. So thank you very much for watching. Please click on that subscribe button. Click on the subscribe button. It is free to subscribe to my channel, and if you click on the bell icon, YouTube will let you know, they'll notify you when I put up another tutorial. So I hope everyone stayed safe so far, and I wish you all well. So happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.